Welcome back to Trade Cave. We are going to go over some support and resistances for our favorite Bitcoin miners as well as Bitcoin itself. I'm just going to quickly go over the different price points for the miners and for Bitcoin in terms of where support and where resistance lies currently with these big moves up. So if we look at Bitcoin here, this is actually the 3-day chart, and the only points of resistance above us right now are at 64,000, which was the peak in April of 2021, and then the 68,900, which was the peak in November 2021. Those are the only two pieces of resistance above us right now. I mean, currently we are at resistance, but if we continue to charge upward, those are the 2 points of resistance for us to watch out for. Below us, we actually have support pretty close. Support is going to be at the bottom of this bull flag down here at 50,000. That's support. The next level of support is going to be in the mid 40s, around 44,000. It's another bit of support, and the heavy support will come in, let's say around 38,000. That's where like some really big support is going to come in. We probably won't get back below that without something dramatic happening in the market. That's it for Bitcoin. Let's go look at Mara. Mara was up 21.68% today. That's pretty amazing. Right now we're looking at this inverse head and shoulders, which is giving us resistance up here at the $30 level, which is similar with the previous two peaks, which one peaked out at 30, the other one at 31.40. Those are our resistances above. If we get beyond that level, we do have a bit of resistance here at the 32 level, and then again up above around here, around 37 to 40. That's where we have some more resistance above. On the support side of things, we have a bit of support here at 26, 22, and then finally down here at 1955. Those are the levels to watch out for Marathon in terms of whether it's going to move up or down and where it may stop or gain some momentum. CleanSpark, this is still on the hourly. Let's put it on the daily. On the daily, so we are at resistance right now. $20 is resistance. We held above it slightly, which means we've kind of conquered this resistance. We'll see. It has to hold it tomorrow and honestly throughout the week. Above us, though, we are at resistance right now. We are resting right at resistance. There's a lot of pressure above us to keep us below this point. If we get above this, the next stop is going to be 23.55. So above $20, 23.55 is going to be our next point of resistance before we start trying to make highs back here around the $30 range. We'll get some resistance, and then up around $40 we'll get stronger resistance, and 42 even stronger resistance before we're making new highs past the previous cycle high from the previous Bitcoin bull run. Below us, our support is 1657 is pretty strong support. It's the base of this big candle we made today. There is below that a little bit of support again. After that, support 1354, and then below that, the large, like the point of intense support where we don't want to get below is around that 1050 range. So above, we're looking at 2355, 30, 32, 40, and beyond. Below, we are looking at 1653, 1350, and around 1050 if we break those two for CleanSpark. Let's look at Bit Digital. Bit Digital was up 17.16% today. That was very exciting. We broke out of this bearish downward channel. This is starting to look like it's not going to end up being a megaphone. That makes me very happy, but I'm going to leave these lines here just in case. In terms of our support and resistance right now for Bit Digital, our resistance above is at 350. That's where we're going to have some resistance above 350, around 350 to 360. There's some strong resistance. Above that, we shall run into some resistance up here again at $4, and beyond that, we're looking at the 528 range for the resistance on that. Below for support, well, actually, let's look what's above 550. What if we break that high like we did last time? If we get above that 550 range, sky's the limit. Let's see what's above that. Next point of resistance we'll probably see is 650 if we break that 550. So a whole other dollar above that. Honestly, somewhere around 850, and then up to 10 from there. And then take a look at what support is at Bit Digital. Support is the middle of this double bottom here, which is at $3 about, a little over support, $3. Then we've got another one around 280 to 270, and then again down to about 250 and below that, down at $2 for support. So Bit Digital is actually still at the lower end of its range and has a lot of room up to move in it. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. They were up 18.58% today. These are all such impressive numbers. They're just wonderful. This is like what you expect to get back in a year. All right, so we are back above the December highs. That's pretty exciting. So resistance, to find resistance, we're going to have to go all the way back here. Let's do a 3-day. We got to go all the way back here to find resistance now. Let's see. Oh, way back here. Resistance above 528. That's what we're looking at. Actually, this is the Canadian, wasn't it? Isn't it? It was. Okay, resistance above. Yeah, right here. I have it marked. 421 to 462 in American dollars. So 421, 462, that's going to be a strong point of resistance for us above if we continue on our upward move here. After that, we are looking at, we're looking at around 550 to 570. After that and above that, we run into resistance again at $7 before we start looking at reaching the previous highs. Below us, we are currently resting on support, which is the height of the December highs, which was 357. Let me bring that back down to the 1-day. 357, so we're right on support there. Below that is in the box here between 320 and $3. So 357, below that 320 to $3. Below that, if we break it, is going to be the center of this double bottom here, which is 257, 250-ish. And if we break below that, manage to get down there, we're looking at $2 as support. So honestly, I think we probably won't get below the $3 mark again unless something catastrophic happens. But that could, if it does, we're looking at 250 and $2 below. I think we'll probably, if we get a sell-off at all, it will probably just tap the top of this box around 320 and start chugging on upward once more. HUT is looking a lot like Bit Digital. We are at resistance, but above us, the next point of resistance is going to be about 1471. Above that, we're looking at $18, so another couple of bucks. Maybe 15 could cause some turbulence there, 15, 16, and then 18. And then after that, we're looking at this high back here from December, which was $24. We'll be looking to take that out. And this one as well is looking like it is making an inverse head and shoulders. We got a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. And this one is slanted. So if we come back here, we go like this. Like that, we get above this line, we might be looking to take out this high back here at 24 once that happens. So that's actually pretty bullish. I like that. That makes me pretty excited. So that's the resistances above, and we are honestly currently sitting at support. The strong support that we're just above is $12. We want to stay above $12. That's support there off of that double bottom from before. Below that, we got a little bit of support here at 1029, and below that, it's the bottom down here at 838. And below that, we don't want to go below that, but below that 730, and then down at 540 is the lowest level of support on here before we're really just losing all our money. I don't know what just happened to my chart. Okay, I don't know where it is. But that was the support and resistance for HUT. Now let's take a look at CIFR. That's warrants. Let's take a look at CIFR first. So CIFR actually moved up 12.21% today, while the warrants only moved up 10%. So the stock actually moved more than the warrants today. That's, you don't see that too often. I expect that tomorrow the warrants might take a little bit of a bump from the fact that they didn't move as much as the stock itself today. But let's take a look here. So CIFR is currently sitting at about support, which is going to be in this 330 range. Above us, our resistance is, let's see, resistance above us. We're looking at about 370, and then about 420 above that. Yeah, I'd say like we're sitting right at resistance and support. Honestly, we're in a weird little zone there. And yeah, above it, resistance, we're looking at from about 370 and then around that 4 to 440, 20 range. If we break above this high here at 450, we're looking at reaching this 530 range where we will find some more resistance here. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of support actually that we're currently sitting on, like all of this back here, basically all of this right there. That's all support that we're sitting on right now. And we probably won't go below it without something dramatic happening. And we're looking like we probably want to get into the upper half of this ascending channel before we break out and get back into this larger ascending channel above. So keep an eye out for that. Let's take a look at the warrants. The warrants, they broke out of this descending channel. We are trading at 117 now. It was up 10% or almost 11%. We still haven't quite interacted with this downward trend line yet. I'm curious to see what happens there. This is looking a little bit like an inverse head and shoulders here. We got a shoulder head and a potential shoulder forming here. So keep an eye out for that. The trend line here being functionally the neckline. It's a bit high, but or actually a bit low, but basically it will function like that when it does occur. And above us, we're looking at resistance just like before. 143 is going to be pretty tough resistance to break through. Below us, support is at 99 cents, and below that at 77 cents, and below that at 43 cents. So we're kind of locked into this wedge here until it breaks dramatically in one direction or the other. And then when it does, it'll probably take a pause at 43, 143, maybe 181 would be the point above that 143 that we could break to if we get enough momentum on that. So that's really what's going on right now in terms of price action on these things. There was the other thing I wanted to bring up was the RSI divergence that I was noticing in some of the charts here, or what could potentially end up being an RSI divergence, especially right here, where we got this high here and this RSI. If price here manages to take out this here at 3064 and this RSI stays below the previous RSI back here at where was it back here on the 24th, that is going to be an RSI divergence, a bearish divergence, which could end in a not like a huge pullback, but like a decent one. You can see it actually happened right back here when on February 12th we had an RSI of 85, and then on February 15th we had a higher high, so we went from 27 to $30, but the RSI dropped down to an 80, so it was 5 less than it was back here, and we saw it break down into this pullback here, and we noticed that it had happened when it in the ascending trend line here. So as soon as we got this candle printed, we kind of anticipated this one and this one coming after it. So if this price action here tomorrow or the next day gets above this $30.45 mark and RSI still is down here, not and isn't in oversold territory, that could be setting us up for another similar pullback to this one back here in early February going into March now. Let's take a look at CleanSpark in terms of its RSI divergence. It is diverging right now on the daily chart. You can see right here, we peaked in RSI back on February 15th, when price was at 1934. Price is currently at 2035. It went as high as 20.99, almost $21, and RSI was before the lower high. It was at 93, and now it is only at 76. So last time we had a bearish divergence, which you can see marked on the chart back here, when it was December 8th until December 27th, where it kept climbing up while RSI was staying low. You can see we had a pretty significant sell-off. We went from $13 all the way down to $6.50. That's nearly a 50% retrace. I'm not saying that we're going to see a 50% retrace here because of this divergence, but like if you see the trend line break, right? So we're back here, this one. Yeah, that's the one. I already have it there. This green line going up, if we break below that, we could see a decent retracement, maybe back down to 13, perhaps even to 11 if we see that full 50% move down on that RSI divergence. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's simply a warning of something to pay attention to, that if this ascending green line here is broken, that there is potentially greater downside coming if that happens. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's simply something to watch out for just in case it does. I know I'm sounding bearish a lot on a lot of things, but there are certain bearish indicators that we do need to be aware of and just watch for. It doesn't mean they're happening, but we need to know that they could happen and not necessarily plan for it to happen, but be prepared to take steps towards protecting ourselves if it does. Bit Digital doesn't have one. Bitfarms doesn't really have one yet, but it's gonna have one. I mean, look at the last time we got a bearish divergence in the RSI back here on Bitfarms. We went from 360 all the way down to 180, and it looks like we're trying to build another bearish divergence of RSI currently in the chart there on that as well. Oh yeah, HUD, I lost HUD. Can't find it. Not gonna find it right now. Not looking for it. That's it. Just in Mara, CleanSpark, and Bitfarms, are you seeing those divergences present? I think in Bitcoin as well, we're also seeing it present. Yes, we are a little bit. Like we were peaking back here, and our size a little bit lower now than it was back here, 52,000. But that's not nearly as dramatic. But like I said, if you see it break that ascending trend line that was forming during that divergence, if it breaks, you could see a more dramatic move downward on that. It's when it's bearish. So that's the update for today. That's the supports and resistances for our favorite miners. One bearish indicator to watch out for. That doesn't mean that the market is going to turn bearish. It just means that that is a trend line to be aware of and cautious of if we get close to it. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.